was just an experience that was just so disappointing because up until that point, I had never really experienced anything like that in Germany.
I was rooting for you! We were all rooting for you! How dare you!
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kendra and I am deine Lieblingsausländerin coming back to you with another video. Every time I try to do an intro, I want to say Ich bin deine Lieblingsausländerin. I don't know, it just feels more natural. I do actually need to start speaking more German on here. So, a question that I get a lot, especially from other Black Americans, is what is it like to be Black in Germany? And that's a loaded question for a lot of reasons. I wanted to offer some insight, especially on what it's like to live here, because we all know that there's a difference between visiting someplace and actually living there. So a lot of what I'm going to talk about comes from personal relationships and interactions that I've had with people, rather than just day-to-day interactions with people at the grocery store or on the street. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It's free. But for people who are looking to visit Germany short-term, I just want to start by saying in general, I feel very safe here. I feel very welcome here. I've met some really great people and people are usually very interested in getting to know me and helping me, and people have been very nice for the most part. I was trying to decide if I wanted to come to Germany some years back. I was pretty nervous. For people who are a little bit nervous about coming here or wondering what it's like for them here, I just want to say that deciding to come here to study almost 5 years ago was one of the best decisions I made in my 20s, and I highly encourage you, if you want to visit Germany, come visit Germany. Honestly, on a day-to-day basis, I just feel like my regular self. It gets interesting when you start talking to people and having conversations with people and you can see their mindset. So I experienced something I like to call cool privilege here, because a lot of people, especially young people, think it's cool that I'm a Black American. A lot of people are into Black American culture. They listen to the music that we listen to, they like the same TV shows that we watch, and I think it's really cool. Side note, I think a lot more Americans should get into German hip hop because it is chef's kiss. But yeah, there's a certain privilege in being a Black American here because people are familiar with Black American culture and people. People are also pretty appreciative of Black features. I get a lot of nice compliments on my skin and my hair. I do meet the occasional weirdo who is like overly fascinated with Black people or has a fetish for Black people, and those are just the people I avoid. Unfortunately, I lived with somebody like that for about a month, and needless to say, I did not stay there long. Another thing I find interesting is that some people assume that I moved here from an African country, which isn't the interesting part because a lot of Black people here have moved from African countries. What's interesting for me is that sometimes I get hit with disbelief and surprise when I tell them I'm not from an African country. So, are you from Ghana? No. Are you from Nigeria? No, I'm from New York. Really? Yeah. Like, originally? Yeah. You were born in the US? Yep. And your parents are from Brooklyn. That doesn't happen often, but every time it does, I'm like, why are you surprised? You do know that there's a whole diaspora of Black people on every single continent in the world, right? Maybe not in Antarctica, but you know what I mean. Talking about racism. Now, I find this happens in a lot of European countries that I go to, but I find that talking about race and racism here is a lot easier than talking about it in the States. And people don't shy away from it. People that I've met here have been really open-minded about race and conversations about race, and it's really refreshing because sometimes in the States people are scared to say the word Black, let alone have open, honest conversations about race. But in Germany, race doesn't feel taboo or like an elephant in the room. People want to talk about it. And I've had some really great, deep, intellectual conversations about race in Germany that I've really enjoyed. For me, race shouldn't be awkward to talk about, and I like that it's never felt that way here. And I like that I don't have to over-explain simple concepts like Black Lives Matter. And it was actually a German who introduced the concept of positive racism to me, or put a name to it for me, because I was explaining what I was experiencing to them and they were like, oh yeah, that's positive racism. So I love that people here are just open to talking about race. There's only been one time that I've experienced like blatant in-your-face racism here. This was about 3 years ago. I was in Berlin and I was walking home and someone was riding toward me on a bike. And this guy made a movement, and naturally my eyes went toward him and I wanted to see what he was doing. And he smiled at me and he gave me a gesture that is illegal here in Germany and is punishable by imprisonment and fines. You know which one I mean. And I felt so embarrassed when it happened. And I was also surprised and nervous because I was alone, I was a little bit younger, and I didn't know if he was going to follow me or attack me or anything like that, but nothing else happened. It was just an experience that was just so disappointing because up until that point, I had never really experienced anything like that in Germany.
I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you? Learn something from this.
After I thought about it, I was actually really grateful for the experience because it showed me that no country is perfect. Every country has its flaws and every country has people who don't believe that you should be there just because of the color of your skin. And of course I already knew that, but it was something that I kind of put to the back of my mind because since nothing had ever happened to me up until that point, I kind of put it out of my mind that something would happen to me in Germany. But I didn't let that one-off situation ruin Germany for me. I didn't let that one idiot define how I viewed Germany and German people, because at the end of the day, that man was a complete stranger who I'll never see again and who probably will never even remember my face. I didn't want to let that one-off situation permanently change my views of the nice, welcoming Germans that I already met and befriended. And I'm grateful that nothing more than that happened and I've never experienced any violence or anything like that. But I've always stayed alert since then because you really never know what can happen. But yeah, as I said before, overall, I don't feel unsafe here. I don't feel unwanted or unwelcome here. Otherwise, I wouldn't keep coming back. Germany is great and I met some great people here. But just because I'm not being followed around in a store or I'm not being denied opportunities because of my skin color doesn't exempt me from making sure that I take care of myself mentally as a Black person. I can't say that racism is better here or worse there, or this kind of racism is better or this kind of racism is worse, because everywhere you go, racism just presents itself in different ways, politically, historically, and socially. And I don't want to perpetuate the idea that one kind of racism is better or more acceptable than the other. It's all bad. For me, it's more about how those experiences affect you mentally. And so far, being Black in Germany hasn't had negative effects on my psyche, my well-being, or who I am as a person. So I hope this video was helpful to anybody Black, white, brown, or yellow who wanted to learn more about the Black experience in Germany. And I highly encourage you, if you're interested in this topic, to learn more about the experiences of different Black people of different nationalities. Because Blackness is not a monolith and Blackness is not a single story. So learn about the experiences of Black Africans and Black Latinos and Black people who were born right here in Germany. Because we all have our own stories to tell. Comment down below, what has your experience been being Black in Germany, or has anything I've said about my experience being Black in Germany surprised you? Until next time, I hope you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Auf Wiedersehen!